Hi, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's conversation. I am here with my girl, Taylor,
Hey guys.
and we just got off of an amazing call with Brady Huff, who is a filmmaker and owner of Huff Weddings. And also, we chatted with him about his newest venture in owning Wedding Post House.
Yeah, we love what Brady is doing. Of course, his work is beautiful, but what we're really excited to talk about today is how his new business, Wedding Post House, can really help streamline the process so that we can create a better client experience, which we all know is luxury, and we can actually increase our profits by using a service like this. So stay tuned because this episode is a really good one. This is the Level Up Podcast. I'm Taylor Petrinovich.
And I'm Kelly Gilster of 618 Studios.
And we are on a mission to help filmmakers level up their businesses and their craft so they can make more and work less.
We want to help you confidently take your business from mainstream to luxury, and it all starts right here. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we have Brady Huff with Wedding Post House joining us. We have a good one in store for you. So, Brady, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of course. We've been chatting a little bit beforehand, and you just have such a good system in place for your clients. You have so many great tips. You actually shared so many good tips with us about things that we need to be doing to lift off of our plate. And so we can't wait for you to share that with these listeners today.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive into it. I'm definitely a big systems and automations person. And I think, with how many balls we're constantly juggling in the air being wedding videographers, the more you can take off your plate, or at least have some kind of template or way that you do something, the less brain power you're taking up, and the more brain power you can use for your creativity or like other things like that. So excited to jump into it.
Yeah, we love it. And as luxury business owners, consistency is honestly the name of the game. We want a consistent, really great client experience from start to finish. So we're so excited to bring you on so we can talk about how systems can really ensure consistency in this way. So can we just dive in? Is that
Yeah,
good?
definitely. Yeah. And I think a lot of this too is going to revolve around a CRM. And for someone who maybe hasn't used that, I think kind of explaining what that is will help. And I actually don't, I think it's client relationship manager. Is that
Mhm.
what it stands for? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So client relationship manager, there's Honeybook and Dubsado and a couple of different ones. And I think we'll keep it generic just because they all pretty much do similar things for the most part. But yeah, having a CRM is definitely, if you don't have it, it is going to be such a lifesaver for your business. And there's a lot of automations you can do within that. The first one being obviously putting your question or like your lead form, what people use to fill out when they are looking to work with you. Most CRMs will actually let you put that embedded in your website. And the great part about that is when they fill that out, all the information that they put in there goes directly in. It creates a new client in your CRM and kind of sets you up for the rest of these automations and systems that you can have for success. So, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to this are like, I know what a CRM is. But I'm surprised at how many people don't and haven't kind of integrated that into their workflow. I'm sure you guys use CRMs. Are you on Honeybook, Dubsado, or what do you guys use?
I'm on Dubsado and Kelly has a dirty secret.
I
Just kidding.
actually don't use CRM. I think because
Really?
yeah, and I think honestly because I'm like the grandma of the industry. So we started 13 years ago and like those didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got so used to like our workflow being like sort of pen to paper, like sort of like, not officially pen to paper, but like along those lines. And we
Mm-hmm.
also weren't taking on like 40, 50, that huge amount of weddings. So it felt very manageable for us. We never shot more than 30 in a year. So we could keep on track of it. But I'm excited to hear what you're going to talk about. Maybe you'll win me over as
Yeah.
CRM user moving forward.
Maybe we can make you a believer by the end of this.
Yeah.
But yeah. Cool. Well, I guess we'll start kind of going through. I'm happy to share a lot of what I do and what I use, and people feel free to pick and choose kind of what they want and if it makes sense to them. But yeah, the first thing that I do is really just make sure that I have that lead form connected within your CRM. You usually have a calendar. And the great part about that is what I can do is I can go in if I get an inquiry and look at the, 3-month, 6-month, 12-month, even up to 36-month calendar and see if I'm booked, or even if I have a new lead come in, it'll actually put a soft hold on that date in a different color. So you can actually see, hey, I got an inquiry for, May 28th, but I already have an inquiry for that date. I need to follow up with that planner or follow up with that client and see if they're still interested. And a lot of times too, that's a great push for them to book when they know you have someone else asking about that date. That's one of the main benefits from the start of inquiries is really keeping track of your calendar well and your clients well. And even being able to follow up, seeing, hey, I had these leads come in. I had these planners or clients asking about these dates, and it's been a week and a half and I haven't heard. It may be time for a follow-up email if it's a client, or even just, if the planner well, just texting them and seeing kind of where the client's at. And we've had a lot of actually weddings end up booking just from seeing that on our CRM. And you'd be surprised how many people kind of like tend to fall through the cracks. So that's definitely a big benefit of that. And another big benefit of that is being able to start using email templates. And I know, Taylor, this is something that you guys kind of talk on too, but being custom in the luxury space is really important. So what we've done is templated emails, but not sending them out automatically, but having them as something that we base our email to the client off of. And the great thing about that is within our lead questionnaire, we have like the date, we have the location of the wedding, and a lot of the details that then in the email, you can set a little custom, like little parameter that's going to actually insert that information. So instead of typing, we're available for your date on May 28th, 2023, it'll automatically put a lot of that in there. And you'd be surprised how much time that ends up saving and brain power that saves. So that's kind of a great way to start with the client inquiry. And then when we get to the booking and the discovery call phase, basically when they send out their lead into us, we'll basically have an available or unavailable template that we use. If it's unavailable, we recommend them to someone else. And if we're available, our template has them go ahead and let us know a date in the next week where they're free for a call. So what we do with that call is have a template for that as well. So I just use Google Docs actually and have the questions that I want to ask them. Do you guys use like a questionnaire, or what's kind of your system for that when they're moving on to kind of more of the discovery call phase?
Kind of depends on if the planner is inquiring with us or the client is. So I actually did have a question, like, do you have then 2 different templates on like if a planner inquires or a client inquires?
Yeah, so for planners, I actually do it a little bit more custom to who they are. So most of the template that I use is for clients. When it's a planner, I actually kind of put a pause on any workflow and just go and look them up and see kind of who they are, what their story is, how they found us. Because at the end of the day, my biggest desire is to build a relationship with them. So I kind of take it a little more custom, and that's a really good question, actually, because I really want them to be able to have that relationship with us. And a lot of times they're asking for something very specific. When you get into the luxury space, like, hey, I want a custom proposal for this many days with this service and this. And at that point, it's less automation, more customization.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and plug our planner communication email templates. You can find them at thelevelup.com/shop. That's what Kelley and I both use. Oh yeah. It will save you so much time with your systems, Brady.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, it's just really nice because, as you know, it's a totally different conversation. You just, said like kind of your automation of what you have set up for clients sort of goes out the window and you more customize it. And so these are like the same templates that Taylor and I use when a planner inquires. And so this one is geared just towards when the planner is your main point of contact. And so those are really helpful to have. So I'm sure those could be something that could be plugged into your CRM as well. And then using that as a base. I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. I love that. That's super good. Yeah, because I mean, what we're doing right now is a Google Doc. And I don't know about you guys, but when I go into a meeting or like a chat with a client, I like to have just those bullet points. Not that I necessarily always use them, but just that safety net of like, okay, here's the information I need and here's what I want to talk to them about. So having that like template is like very nice. I like that idea.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So you send out a little questionnaire, like if the client is wanting to meet with you, and then you'll just kind of dive a little bit more into that. Cause I know that I have like everything in my head. Again, this is like the non-CRM girl over here. If I do get on a call with a client, I'm always asking them like where they're at in their booking process. Like I want to get to know the other creative partners. They'll kind of tell me like, maybe we're working with this florist or working with this makeup artist and that. And then I'll kind of ask like, what was important in you choosing your venue? Like it kind of helps build the story there. So what are some of those things that you have on your questionnaire to kind of like check off those boxes so you have all that info?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of it is the vendors that they're working with. That typically helps us get a good idea on the scale of the wedding and the caliber of the wedding and probably what they're realistically spending. Another thing that we have on there is a little bit more information about kind of what they're looking for and what their style is. Because sometimes we just find that we're not a good fit, and we have a certain style that we like and we want to work with those clients. So a little bit more diving into understanding that, and sometimes that'll flush out in the questionnaire, but sometimes it's you get on a call and you have that realization. And then the other thing we kind of chat through is what they're looking to have coverage for and why they're looking to have coverage of that. Because sometimes I think folks don't know what they don't know, and they think they need something, but talking to them, you kind of realize, hey, I may want this. Or if there's only speeches at the rehearsal dinner, but they like a certain type of film that is a little more speech heavy, then it may make sense to have them go ahead and add a rehearsal dinner coverage onto that. So we make notes on that. And basically right after that call, we have templated out an invoice, or not an invoice, like estimate for our whole offering that's all customized to look like our offering sheet. So we'll actually go ahead and put in the things that they talked about and the things that they wanted in there on that. And then we also have options. I know Dubsado lets you do like optional add-ons that aren't included in there, but they can just hit add and actually customize themselves if they want additional coverage or a adventure session or something like that. So we basically have that all set up in our CRM. So within 5 or 10 minutes of the phone call, they have that in their hand. Because I don't know about you guys, but it is so hard to keep people's attention nowadays. So if they've just talked to you and you can get that to them within 5 minutes of them still being on their computer and they can look through that, I've definitely seen increases in bookings and even increase in just open rates for those kinds of things. So that's been another little thing that's been really helpful, is just getting that straight out to them. And it actually leads straight into that proposal that we send through to them. If you hit, select what you want and hit next, you go to your contract and you go to your payment. So they can actually book within, 10 or 15 minutes of that phone call, which is really nice.
Yeah, my processes have changed a bit over the years, but when I was like heavy into Dubsado from like, I don't know, maybe 2018 to 2021, I will say that I honestly think Dubsado blows HoneyBook out of the water. Like
Agreed.
I'm like pretty opinionated here, and like I really don't think that HoneyBook is like good for like the upper levels of like the wedding industry. I just don't. Like a lot of planners complain. But one thing I love about Dubsado is the proposal process is so beautiful and custom. And like you said, it's like a very like streamlined process. Like you select your package or whatever add-ons, like there are literally buttons and you can add images, you can add video, you can embed whatever you want into the form. It's so beautiful. Trying to give people like a visualization, like aid if you're just listening to this while you're driving. But then you literally do select next, you sign your e-contract and you hit next and an invoice is automatically created for you. It's like so easy for the client. I feel like it's like client experience is all about like making things easy. And I do think this is like a great option if you're looking to up your systems, I guess. So anyway, just echoing what you said, I think it's great.
Yeah, and just being able to be on brand with those things too, I think are so important. You know, you never want to take, especially for a luxury client experience you're trying to create, taking them out of the look and feel of who you are, because that, you know, can put that little thing in their head like, well, if this isn't consistent, like, is that going to mean the film's not consistent? Or like, you just never want to have those, you know, thoughts coming in. So the customization in Dipsado is really nice. Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you guys, are there any things that you're doing within your inquiry / discovery call phase that I haven't talked about that maybe I should be doing? Because I'd love to learn from you guys.
Well, okay. So in the luxury market, it is a little bit less common that you are meeting with the client. But I actually do have a client call this afternoon for a 2024 wedding. So it's not to say that it never happens. But once you kind of gain those relationships with planners, you'll find that they do the selling process for you. And it's almost like they're standing in for the meeting between you and the client. Like they know you, they've seen your workflow, like they've worked with you, like, you know, many times. And so they can kind of explain to them like how you work. Cause I feel like, I don't know, like a lot of the general questions that the clients ask are honestly questions that a planner could answer if they've worked with us multiple times. So like a very general question the client would ask would be like, walk me through like what a wedding day looks like. And so like, basically what we'd say is like, we're a husband and wife team. We start the day in the getting ready moments. I'm with the girls, Paul's with the guys. I mean, like a planner could say all of that too if they've seen our workflow. They could say like they're a husband and wife team. Paul is usually with the groom and the groomsmen, or Kelly's usually with the bride and the bridesmaids, or like however, you know, that looks for the wedding day. And then they're super professional and they're very positive, and like they can kind of give things like that on what the experience they can kind of build that experience within their pitch for the clients. So I'm trying to think like if there's anything else specific. I just feel like it was really interesting. We had a meetup a couple weeks ago, and I just came off of like 2 back-to-back wedding weekends, and one of the clients didn't want to meet with us. Not that they didn't, they just didn't like, they didn't offer to meet or like felt the need to meet. And we've worked with this planning team dozens of times. And so I knew that they had done that pitching process for us, and it was a great experience for the client. And then the next weekend, the client did want to meet with us prior to booking, and we did like a 45-minute phone call with them and chatted. And one of the people at our meetup was saying, hey, like, you know, I just feel like I need to meet with the client. Like I need to meet with them because I need to be able to like know to tell their story. And I'm like, but like, how in depth are we getting on this discovery call? Like I ask how they got engaged. I ask like what their most important things are. Like, I don't know that I need to know the nitty gritty of like every piece of their story, if that makes sense. Because I kind of told this person, you know, based on my experience between these 2 back-to-back weddings, even though I met with one client and didn't with the other, I still felt like I could tell their complete story. It didn't mean that like a 30 to 40-minute call like completely changed that. A lot of times too, it just has to do with like what the couples are incorporating, like if they're incorporating personal vows or things like that. So I think that was like kind of like a mind-blowing moment a little bit for that person who's so used to like really having an in-depth relationship with each couple of theirs. So I don't know where I was kind of going with that, but like, it is kind of interesting on the client call. Like it's not always something that we'll do, but again, this afternoon, like the planner reached out, she went ahead and CC'd the client on the first one and was like, you know, send over your collections. Then the client wrote back and was like, we love your work. We'd love to meet with you. And so obviously we're more than happy to meet with them. It is nice when you meet with them. I think it's more nice on a level of like, you know, who you're walking into and who the client is. Cause I think that like, Taylor, you've probably had this where you walk in and you're like, who's the bride? Like, we're hoping she's in a white robe. So it's easy to find out. So that can be a little awkward, but it's usually like a very quick, like, so nice to meet you. Thanks for having us. And then we've moved past it. And it's like, you know, we've met before, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. And like the workflow does change a lot. We have one we're shooting in 2 weeks and I've never talked to the couple. I won't talk to the couple until the wedding day. It's just been through the planner. And it really was an email from them. Hey, here's what I want. Here's what I need. Can you send pricing? And we sent a custom proposal for that and they booked. And that was it, you know? And then I just had a call with the planner yesterday, kind of going through some of their needs and what they want. But yeah, it's so true. Like when you get to the luxury level, you're not working with the client very often. It's usually just straight with the planner. So it makes a lot of this stuff a lot easier, which is really nice because that workflow speeds up a lot.
Yeah, but this is still such a valuable conversation because a lot of our listeners, although they're striving for the luxury market, like we know it's not like a snap of the finger and all of a sudden now you're just working with planners. Like it's a slow build, you know? So like maybe this year you're working with like 2 planners and 15 straight with the client and it kind of like builds from there over the few years. So this is still like such great information, even when it comes to like the process through the client.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
So true. So then Brady, after, you know, you've shot the wedding now, what are some of the things through your systems and processes that continue post-wedding?
Yeah, definitely. So I actually have, and this is very basic, but I have a reminder the day after the wedding that pops up in my CRM to download all the media, make backups of everything. Just because I worry about that, you know. But yeah, that reminder will go out. And the first thing I actually do is we actually own a company called Wedding Post House, which is outsourced wedding culling for videographers. So I actually send out all our weddings that we do through our personal brand through to Wedding Post House. And usually in about 3 or 4 days, I'll have that project back. But the first thing I do with the media is I actually, when you get a project back from Wedding Post House, it's basically a timeline with all your good footage with the bad stuff taken out. So it's all the good in and out points. And everything's categorized chronologically and by event. Well, I'm excited to share the first of a new series that you guys are doing, which is the Luxury Insider Tip, sponsored by Wedding Post House. And the tip that I would love to share for the day is creating a curated gallery for your wedding planner that you share via Dropbox so that they can create Instagram reels and other content super easily from what you shot from the wedding day. So the first thing that I like to do is I actually grab all the sections. So whether that's establishing shots, partner 1 getting ready, partner 2, the portrait session, you know, reception details, any of those things, I make a separate folder in Dropbox for each one and export those clips out and actually send that straight to the planner. And the reason we do that is because it's gotten us so much work. Even within the last 2 weeks, we've done this with 2 different planners. One was a styled shoot and one was having a conversation on the phone about our process and kind of mentioning that we do that. And both of them have already pitched us to different clients because planners want those clips so badly because you know, it's kind of changed over the last 2 or 3 years with Instagram Reels. It used to be just you throw the edited video up or the highlight or the teaser, and that was kind of it. But now with Reels, having those little pieces of micro content where the planner can grab, you know, a shot of the tent, a shot of their reception setup, and a shot of, you know, some details of a flat lay or something like that, and just take those 3 shots, put it to music, and now they have content. It's so invaluable. So what we do as soon as we get a project back is go ahead and get the Wedding Post House to go ahead and cull it, sync all the cameras and audio. And then from there, I actually send it to be outsourced by a separate editor because that's not something that Wedding Post House offers. But a lot of the times too, you can actually get a discount on your edit if it's already culled because you just save them about, 5 to 8 hours of time. So we go ahead and do that and start on the edit. So I don't edit myself. I know people are a lot better than I am at editing. I'm okay. I can get by, but I just think there's so many more talented people out there who I would rather let take care of that. And I just really focus on the client experience and relationships. But yeah, that's kind of our post-production workflow. And usually we try to get the film out in a month. I know that's faster than some people do, but we have in our contract about 6 months, but usually we try to do about 30 days if we can for the full film.
Overpromise.
Wow, that's so fast.
Was it? Is it over?
Under promise, over deliver.
Yeah. That one. Yeah, that's a very luxury move. That's amazing. I am such a control freak when it comes to editing, but that I just love what you're doing over at Wedding Post House. It's like something that I don't know of any other like post-production team or company that's doing that, because I feel like in 2020, or no, it was 2021 when we like all got slammed with like weddings for the last 2 years. I did have to outsource a few of them. And I actually never have. It's not really part of my workflow. I usually enjoy the editing process. I'm a little bit of a control freak. But when I was getting quotes from these editors and everything that they required of me, it was like they wanted me to like cull it, rough cut it, like, sync everything up for them, everything. And I'm like, dude, that's like the grunt work. Like that's like so much of like I'm doing everything, and then like they're just going in and like laying down the pretty clips.
You're
so like it's amazing.
Part.
Yes. And I'm like, yeah. And then of course I'm like, I want to color grade it. So like then send it back to me. And it just didn't feel like they were really helping me in a way that met the needs that I needed done. And so I just love how you guys have structured Wedding Post House. It like truly fits such a great need for so many filmmakers out there in just taking that busy work off of their plate, where they can still gain creative control if they want to take that back and do the editing themselves or send it out to an editor like you do. So that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really came out of a need that we had within our own business for Huff Wedding Films. Last year we shot 4 international and I think like 8 domestic destination weddings. And I just didn't have time to do everything. And I tried fully outsourcing and I was getting kind of similar results to you, where just didn't have a feel to it. So I was trying to figure out a way where we can keep creative control, not break our budget and still have a decent turnaround time as well. Because a lot of the films it was taking like 2 months to get back. So that was kind of my thought. And I actually trained our first editor myself, just to do Huff Wedding Films. And he did such a good job that I kind of started asking some friends. I was like, hey, is this something that, you might be interested in too? Yeah. And it kind of just took off from there, but it really has stemmed from like what our needs are and what we've seen. Because, I've been doing video 10 years now. I know I don't look like it, but I started straight out of high school and did commercial work, then into weddings. But it really has come from our needs over the years and what we wished we had and just didn't see in the industry. So yeah, we just decided to create it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I love it because there's like such a hesitancy with so many filmmakers to like relinquish some of that control. Cause like we're creatives, like we want it to feel us and we want it to be consistent for our clients and we care. But Wedding Post House is like such a great option because you get to, like you said, like retain that creative control, but take like a whole week's worth of work off of your plate. Cause like, I don't know about you guys, but like I'm such a procrastinator when it comes down to something that I just don't want to do. Like something that probably could take like 5 hours is going to like stretch over like way too long because I'm like opening my phone, looking at TikTok, So this is great.
Yeah,
you just get to like dive into the fun part.
That's cool.
And that's the thing is like it may be 5 to 8 hours of work, but at least for me, it takes a week. Like it really does, because I have, I'm an ADHD. I feel like a lot of us struggle with distractions nowadays with smartphones.
Okay, so if a filmmaker has never used Wedding Post House before, like myself, but I'm ready to do it, what does that process look like?
Yeah, definitely. So a culling service, I guess, just to explain, is it's very popular in the wedding photography space, but not really in the video space. But it's really getting all the media and just culling it down, sorting it out, and finding the best takes of everything, and really any usable take of everything. And putting that on a timeline, color coded in chronological order, so you have all your available media that you can start building your edit off of. And the other thing that's included with that too is all your multicams. So if you shoot 3 or 4 cameras for your ceremony with a lav on, let's say, the groom and the officiant, and maybe a recorder on the soundboard, we'll go ahead and take all that, sync everything up, so you have that timeline of everything ready to go. So generally, most wedding days will have probably, first looks, letter reading if there is any, ceremony, speeches, cake cutting, first dances, anything really where you're running 2 or more cameras. You can have that synced up. So everything is synced for you. All your media is there and chronological and categorized. So really, especially if you're in Premiere or DaVinci where you can open 2 timelines at the same time, you're really just putting in your music, picking your sound bites, and then just picking the clips you want to tell the story. So that's kind of what the service is. As far as getting started with it, basically you would upload your media to Dropbox or Google Drive is currently what we're taking. And if you're in Premiere or DaVinci, you can actually use a proxy workflow. And if you're not sure how to do that too, we've made some tutorials on our YouTube channel. It's just youtube.com/wedding post house. But yeah, it's really just uploading the media. We have a questionnaire that you fill out with what multicams you want to have synced, how much media you have, what your audio sources are, how many cameras you had. And then once that's filled out and taken care of, our average turnaround time is about 4 days. So you're
Oh
getting
my
that back in about
gosh.
4 days.
That's so fast.
That was my next
Yeah.
question, and I'm mind blown right now. Guys, for anyone listening or watching on YouTube, comment below or whatever. It's like my mind is blown. If your mind is blown, tell me in the comments, because wow, this could like really change so many people's workflows.
Well, and that was the gap that we were really trying to fill too, because with social media, everyone just wants it now. So to be able to have the planner and even the client too, what we've started to offer, and this may not be for everyone, but is having that culled footage that we're sending to the planner to the client as well as like a social media kit. So like if they want to be able to post little reels and little snippets from their wedding day, they can now pull any of those in, and we just upcharge that for, X amount. But it's starting to get pretty popular. I know some people are doing like a content person, like adding a content person to their team where they have like one of the couple smartphone or something like that, and they're just filming with that. But we found this to work a little bit better, and it's a little more, high level, beautiful looking footage.
I have a question.
Sure.
So for this like media kicks, now I'm like intrigued. I'm all about like what value can I provide my client, of course, but like how can I increase my bottom line also? Because we're all business people, right? So how are you delivering that? Are you vertically like cropping it? Are you color grading it? Like how polished of a media kit is this? Or like, is there stabilization? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So basically what I'm doing, I don't like to give everything to the client. I like to kind of gatekeep a little bit on what they're putting out of ours, just because it represents us. But I'm trying to have my second shooter shoot a little bit of portrait of like the main moments, or not the main moments, but the main things throughout the day. But it's something where you may need to get a third shooter in just shooting portrait, and you can charge enough. Like people will pay a good amount of money for this stuff, because like at the end of the day, for their other films, they might end up as more of a keepsake or maybe go on Facebook once or twice. But this kind of stuff is like content they can keep posting for the next couple years, just these little clips that they can put out. So it's either getting a third shooter who's just shooting portrait, or having your second shooter shoot a little bit of portrait, and then the rest I'm just shooting a little bit wider for the wedding day and then just cropping into portrait. So there's a
Okay.
little bit of work that goes into it, kind of reframing and recomposing.
Okay. So you'll send it back on like in regular 16:9, and then we can go in and add stabilization, color grading, and then maybe like an auto reframe. Like I use Premiere, so they do like the auto reframe sequence. And so I could just change it to 16 or 9:16.
Yeah. So that's not a service we're offering with Wedding Post House. It's just something that you can do with the footage from that yourself if you wanted to add it in. But yeah, it's been pretty popular. Because everyone getting married now is like they want to get the content out fast and get it out on social media. So it's just something that helps, especially as wedding videographers I'm always looking at what's happening in the next 2 years. What's the trends? I've been looking a lot into AI and stuff like that. But, a lot of content, if you're looking at where it's going, is social media. So having that to offer the client, because a lot of them, if you watch back, they're posting all the iPhone stuff from their wedding day. And yes, they're going to love the film and they're going to see it, but they're going to throw out that iPhone stuff. They're doing reels. They're doing all these fun things with it. So if you can be the one to provide them with that content and within a couple of days of the wedding, it really enhances the client experience a lot.
Right. And then also,
brilliant. Love
it's so brilliant. Like it's so brilliant. And also from the planner's perspective, I think that this is kind of like a hot tip for people, how you were saying, Brady, that you provide the planners with some tangible like content pieces so that they can continue to post and use reels. If you think about it, that's what they're getting from a photographer, right? The photographer has provided them with like decor shots, detail shots, like really curated a gallery for them so that they can continue to post from that. And if we're working towards becoming more top of mind for planners, a planner is, if they're continually going into a gallery to pull from a wedding that they worked with on a photographer, that photographer is going to continue remaining top of mind. For us, if we're just delivering like one teaser to them, like we could easily be forgotten in the mix of everything. And so I think that it's really cool that that's another service that you're offering and giving to those planners, because if they're, I guess, going in and pulling from your video gallery of stuff, now you're already on the same playing field as the photographer and remaining top of mind. And so I think that's a really good tip.
Yeah, and they will love you for it. I mean, they honestly, the feedback that I've gotten when I've sent this out to planners is like, they're just mind blown that because no one's really doing it right now. I don't think. I don't hear of it too much. But I did it. I had a style shoot last week that I shot with a planner. My dog wants to say hi.
Oh my goodness.
If you're watching over on YouTube, you get to see Brady's adorable. Is it a cute golden retriever?
Oh my gosh, he's so cute.
He is.
Oh my gosh.
He's a
How
little
old is he?
snuggler too. He's 3 years old, but he's a snuggle bud. He'll just hang out. But so we did a style shoot 2 weeks ago in Rosemary Beach in Florida. And we shot landscape for half, portrait for half, and just kind of sent the planner 2 versions. And she's already pitching us to a client in June, and we're actually going up. She's flying us up to DC to just shoot behind the scenes content for a I'm not sure quite what the budget is, but I'm guessing it's somewhere around $500,000 wedding. So it's going to be, for us, it's great portfolio. But also just the relationship building with that planner is amazing.
Yeah.
I love
that's
it.
What you
oh
want.
My gosh.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all about the value add, and having someone like want that specifically from you, like it's a testament to like the value you've already given them, and they're going to be in your corner for a long time.
Yeah. And that's something that we have been trying to help people with Wedding Post House is like, hey, like, don't just pay us for this service, make some money off this. Like, whether that is selling the client a social media package and just using the culled footage for that, or even we've had, and I've done this actually for some of our own clients, is we have a template on weddingposthouse.com/offers for an upsell for additional films. So you can actually go in, download that template, put your own information in there, and send it out to past clients. And what's nice about those upsells is a lot of times it's ceremonies or documentary edits or things like that that you can actually get from a ceremony. For a ceremony edit, it takes me about 20 minutes to get that together from what I get back from Wedding Post House, and a documentary edit's about an hour. So, and it depends obviously what your documentary edit is and what it includes. For us, it's all the usable clips with the multicams added in the appropriate places, cut together. But I always tell people, like, if you want to try the service, sell your client on a past project, go ahead and just send it out to us, get it back, and spend an hour finishing it out. And, you know, if you sell your documentary edit for $1,200 and you can do that in an hour, it's a great way to try out the service and still make some good money as well.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. Yeah, we, Taylor and I talk about just like a great client experience is the upsell process. It doesn't have to feel salesy. It's really just doing the client a service of things that are going to gain value over time. I think that as filmmakers, we provide a really unique service, and our service gains value over time, right? Like you look at that ceremony film, one year, 5 years, 30 years from now, like that's so valuable, like 30 years from now when someone's looking back and seeing it. And so kind of in the sales process, I hate the word using sales process, but just like, I guess educating the client on something like that is really key in providing a good client experience. So that's really cool that you guys also offer that through Wedding Post House.
Yeah, it's so true. We sent a documentary edit out to a client about a week ago as a past client that wanted to add it on. And she just sent me like a really long email back of just like how grateful she was for it, because it like reminded her of her mother's film, a little more like home video style. And she's like, there were all these moments from the wedding day that I'd miss. And, you know, it sometimes is easy to feel salesy when it comes to money and comes to some of these things. But, you know, just remembering that it really is about their memories and having those. And, you know, obviously everyone has to make a living and we get compensated for our time, but being able to do that and also like make someone super happy is, I don't know, it's just like, it's a great feeling.
It is.
It's cool.
Well, Brady, if somebody wants to try out Wedding Post House, which I really hope they do, I know that Kelley and I are both very much looking forward to using it. Where can they find you? Just tell us where you are online.
Yeah, so you can find us. We're on Instagram. It's Wedding Post House there. We're on YouTube. It's youtube.com/Wedding Post House. And if you want to go to our website, it's just weddingposthouse.com. But yeah, I also want to make sure that you guys get a discount code too for a 10% off for your audience. So we'll make sure we get that settled. I'm sure it'll be probably level up 10. Would that work? Something like that?
Sounds perfect.
Perfect.
It'll be in the show notes.
Level up 10 for 10% off on Wedding Post House. You guys gotta go do this. And then Brady, what about your personal filmmaking company? Where can people find there and look at your beautiful work?
Yeah, so Huff Wedding Films on Instagram and also huffweddingfilms.com. Try to keep it simple.
Thank you for joining us in this conversation. If you enjoyed this episode, please help us reach more filmmakers just like you by taking a screenshot and sharing it on social media. Don't forget to tag us at The Level Up Co.
And join us again next week, same time, same place, as we continue to level up the industry together.